Hey guys, my name's Ozzy. I've been RVing for 12 years, about 12 years. I full-timed for 8. Um, this is my 4th camper. It's a 15 FPS. It's an E-Pro from Flagstaff. Before this, I had a Thor 22HE. I highly recommend that nobody ever buy a Thor. That thing delaminated after 2 years. I was pretty diligent about keeping on top of the seals, but water got in through a screw on the back, and the whole back wall delaminated. But anyway, that's another story. Before that, I had a Winnebago Tribute 31C, and then before that, I had my first camper. It was a travel trailer. It was a cruiser RV. I think it was a 210 UDS. It was a pretty cool little camper, but it was okay. I really like this one. I think out of all my campers, this has been the one that I'm most impressed with the build quality. The Winnebago was pretty good too, but there's stuff just in this one, it just seems like it's just, there's nothing's perfect, right? There's a few things, but overall, like the build quality and the materials and stuff seem pretty good. But anyway, so the thing that I really liked about the motorhomes was that you have the generator built in, and if I hardly ever ran it because I've had a pretty good solar on all the RVs, but there's times where you just got to run it to charge the batteries, especially. And if you have a motorhome, it's really easy. You just push the button and it starts, and it's nice. But with the travel trailer, like with my first travel trailer, I had the generator in the back of the truck, and then it was hard to reach it when the tailgate, because the tailgate couldn't come all the way down. It would hit like right here, so I couldn't get to it. I remember one night I had in Georgia, in Savannah. I was staying in a parking lot, and it was so hot that night, and I didn't want to get the generator out because I didn't want to run it just out in this parking lot that we were staying for the night. And I didn't dare to run it inside the bed of the truck because I had a ton of cover. And so anyway, that night, it sucked. And back then I couldn't run the air conditioner off of the batteries. I could run the microwave and stuff, but so here's what I came up with on this. So it's worked out really well. All you got to do is pull the cover off. And then this is a heavy duty chain. It's pretty, I think it's 12 millimeter. It's for like motorcycles. And that is bolted not bolted, locked to the frame down there. And just got to move it out of the way. And then the propane, I've got a regulator in here that is a 90-degree. I kept the original plug in here in case I need to still use it, but I've got a it's kind of hard to reach right now, but there's a plug in there that screws onto it so it doesn't get all dirty, so it's sealed. But anyway, Just open this slowly and hit the switch. And there it is. So all this generator will be doing is I put a port right here. So I just will be running an extension cord here, and I have an 80 amp charger, and it charges the lithium battery. Lithium batteries, you can put them in the coach, in the trailer. So they are not like like lead acid batteries that put out a bunch of hydrogen or corrosion. So the only real danger would be a fire, but they don't really catch on fire. They really just tend to smoke. So you would just start, if there was an issue, you would just have smoke. But it's no different. You're supposed to put lithium batteries like inside. You don't really want them out in the elements. So anyway, this is a pretty cool setup, I think. There is plenty of room between the generator and the camper, and the exhaust is right there. So I mean, it's not like it's gonna, if this doesn't even get hot or anything. I mean, imagine this is plastic right here on this. And if that exhaust was pointed directly at the tanks, yeah, that would be a concern. But it's not. And I would prefer that the exhaust blew to the away from the campsite, that it blew back this way. And it will work that way, but the only thing is that with this particular generator, the gas cap fill just barely touches right here. And I really didn't want it touching the camper at all. Just, if anything, for the sake of noise, of vibration. The generator sits on a mat, and I'll show how I built this little thing. But it just sits on a little mat that's I don't know, like a 1/4 inch rubber. Inside the camper, you're probably curious how it's really no different than my motorhomes were. I don't know if you can even tell. I mean, yeah, you can, through the video, you can tell that there's a slight rumble. There's a slight rumbling, but it's to be honest, it's less so than the Class C was. The Winnebago was a 31C, and it had, I think, a 5500 or something in it, and it had 50 amp service, and it was considerably more vibration-y than this. This one, this is, I'd say, just a tad under the vibration of the Thor 22HE. That one had a 4000 generator in it. But anyway, this is good. Video's dragging on. I'll I'll put on the rest of this video the some. I didn't have this microphone, so the day I was putting that stuff in here, it was so freaking windy that I couldn't even. I mean, I couldn't even talk. You know, into the. You wouldn't have heard anything from me. So I just took some pictures along the way. But yeah, if anybody's interested in doing this, just keep in mind it has to be a small generator like that, obviously, and your batteries, you have to relocate them. And if you can't really relocate lead acid batteries into the camper, it has to be a lithium. All right, so the first thing I did to install this generator on the tongue, was I took a measurement of the generator, and then I compared it to this area here, and I saw that it was looking like it would fit, but wasn't sure. So then I removed the tanks and stuff, and I actually dropped the generator in here, but it was looking like it would be okay up against over here, but over here it was sticking out quite a bit. So I took a measurement of the generator's footprint, and it was going to be, if I remember right, it was like 11 inches or something like that. So I measured out the distance, uh, and I put in some of this angle iron stuff just on top, and I measured out where it was going to be. So it was actually, oh, it was over a foot. But anyhow, so I took that measurement, and then I drew with a Sharpie what I needed to cut out to be able to put this underneath. And so I could see that was going to work. Well, the other thing I did, I had to cut this lip. I cut it off. I used a little sawzall that I have. It's like a jigsaw slash sawzall, but you could use whatever. I would love to learn how to weld at some point, but I'm not a welder, so everything that I do, I have to, use bolts and screws and whatnot. But anyway, here you can see that piece cut off, and then I got these measurements, and then I cut these also with little sawzall, and it cuts it like butter, really. I mean, it's really easy to cut this stuff. But so I made those cuts, and then I mounted it with 2 screws from the bottom. I think they were number 10. I think they were number 10, self-tapping, self-drilling screws. So down here on the bottom, that's how it's screwed. And then I just drilled some holes, and these are 1/4 inch, and they're like 1/4 inch by 3/4, I think they were. Got those all situated. And then this a rubber mat that I got at I don't remember, I think it was Walmart, or yeah, I think it was Walmart. But the width turned out perfect, and then I just cut the length, and then I put the generator. At first I really was wanting it to be, facing the campsite, but the gas cap just ever so slightly touched right there. And then also I figured if I ever want to pour gas into it, well, it's on here, that's gonna make it difficult. So I opted to turn it around. You can see right there. But this is a pretty standard size, so this should work for most generators. Um, but yeah, the only consideration I think would be um, if it could go lower,
but then the exhaust would hit right on the frame. Right now it's just ever so slightly above the frame, so you'd probably have to use a diverter, an exhaust pipe. Um, but then that would interfere with just being able to put the cover on. So, um, yeah, I went this route instead. This chain, it's a bicycle, or not a bicycle, a motorcycle chain, um, for locking down a motorcycle. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Um, the This is a 4 foot um, propane extension with regulator, and 4 feet is like perfect. And the chain, this is a 4 footer, and it's like perfect too. If you wanted to go around it, I think you'd need about 5, but then that makes it harder to put the cover and stuff. So this worked out really well. The only thing I could foresee maybe happening in the long run is some discoloration right here. So I don't know if I start to notice anything weird happening here on the frame, which I really doubt, but anything's possible, then maybe I'll put like a little heat shield, like I don't know what they call them, like an exhaust shield, just a little piece of metal that's like a quarter of an inch, you know, away from this. But yeah, if anything comes up, I will update. This strap, it's like just tight enough just to keep it here. I mean, this thing, you can't even pull it out. You have to remove the tanks, or you have to remove a tank to get it in and out. So, this will be something that for each trip, I'll just put it in and run it off of the one tank of propane to charge the batteries. But, you always have the option to put some gas in it, which I don't really care for. I don't like dealing and smelling the gas and stuff, but it gives that option, so it's pretty sweet.